All right, everybody, welcome to today's personal development lesson. I am your host, Joel Dunn, and today is the first official day of the second half of your year. So what we're going to be discussing today is your mid-year goal check-in. So the things that you need to do, like reset, refocus, recommit. But before we jump into that, I want to give you a great congratulations on making it this far in the year. Did you check things off your to-do list? Did you get goals accomplished in the first 6 months of the year? If so, take time right now to appreciate the work that you've put in. You've done it this far. So what are we going to do? We're going to reflect on how awesome we did. We're going to look at the progress that we've made. We're going to realign our focus for the remaining 6 months and make powerful pivots for the rest of the year. Because the halfway point of the year is not just a calendar milestone. It's a leadership checkpoint. It's where leaders look to see if they're on the trajectory that they decided they wanted to go on for the whole year. It's your turn to take a moment to pause, reflect, recalibrate your team, recommit your team to the vision, and set your starting point for the second half of the year. So, are you where you thought you would be 6 months in? Are you where you thought you would be 6 months ago when you made these goals? What's working? What's not working? What's worth getting rid of? And what's worth doubling down on? So first thing we want to do is obviously reflect on the first half of the year, the things that we did do, or maybe we didn't do. So ask 3 questions. 1, what goal have I already achieved or made progress on? 2, where have I fallen short and why? 3, what patterns, distractions, or surprises came up that impacted my progress? Because you had something happen probably that maybe caused you to slow down or be distracted, because we know that when we are doing things throughout the year, life happens. So how did that impact your progress? So something we need to talk about is winning, learning, and burn. So win, what did you accomplish these last 6 months? Learn, what lessons did you gain from the things that happened that maybe didn't go the way that you wanted to? And then burn, what needs to go? What habits, mindsets, or distractions do you need to get rid of in order to propel yourself forward in these next 6 months? Because Winston Churchill said, success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is courage to continue that counts. And all of you have that courage inside of you to go on to achieve great things for the rest of the year. So we've revisited. So now what do we have to do? We need to reconnect to the vision, because you don't need new goals. You need a fresh connection to your why. Why did you start out this year in the direction that you were going? You need to do a realignment exercise. Go back. Hopefully you wrote down your original goals, or you created a vision board or a dream board at the beginning of the year. Pull that out, take a look at it, ask yourself, does this still fire me up? Does this create the burn inside of me to get up and do the things? Is this still aligned with who I'm becoming and who I want to become? And have any values changed or shifted in this first 6 months? If it still matters, recommit to it. If it no longer aligns with where you want to go, revise or release and get rid of it. Then next, you're going to adjust and pivot, because you're not behind, You're just being called to adjust the map to still reach your destination. Think about it as the GPS that when you take a wrong turn or there is a detour because there's construction, it gives you a new direction, a new path. You're still going to the same destination. You may just need to have to go down another road to get there. And it could be quicker. It could be slower. You don't know until you make that adjustment. You make that turn. So there's 3 types of mid-year goals. 1, the accelerated one. Goals that need more energy, structure, and resources. So these are the things that you're going to have to pour more into. There's an adjustment goal. These are goals that need new timelines or new strategies in order to accomplish them. Did you have them at the beginning of the year and the tools and the strategies that you had in place just aren't making it happen? This is where you take the time to adjust those so that you can go down the path to get to it. And then third, there's the abandon. These are goals that no longer serve the vision. These are things that you may have thought you needed at the beginning of the year and you started out, but now halfway in, they no longer serve the vision of where you want to go. Now, when we're doing the change, when we're adjusting the GPS, when we're pivoting, please add a level of grace for yourself and your team. Change the how, not always the what. Break your larger goals into 60-day sprints, 30-day sprints. We talk about this all the time. When you can focus on small sections of it, you can accomplish it sometimes even faster, because when you focus, you accomplish more. And then add accountability to the weak areas. Because Helen Keller said, the bend in the road is not the end of the road unless you fail to make the turn. And so that's what we're doing at this midpoint of the year. We're looking for a way to get around the corner. Next, we're going to plan the next 90 days. We're going to do a small quarterly sprint. Choose 3 priorities max. You've got the remainder of your goals for the year, or maybe some more because you didn't accomplish the things that you wanted to in the first half of the year. But I want you to choose 3 of them to prioritize. And then we're going to use the WHOOP method again. We're going to wish, use the outcome, look for the obstacles, and then we're going to plan accordingly. We know what we want to do. We know what the outcome is that we want. We need to write down some of the obstacles that we know will come up, and then plan accordingly to overcome those obstacles when we ultimately know they're going to take place. And then we're going to anchor each goal with our daily habits, maybe your KPIs. What are your key performance indicators that you have to do each day in order to get closer to hitting your goal? And then we're going to have weekly checkpoints. You're going to look maybe on Friday and see if you accomplished the things that you wanted to. And then monthly milestones. What are those key things that you're going to put in place to be the point that you've achieved that goal or that action for the month? Tony Robbins says setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into visible. Now, in order to turn the invisible visible, you need to take the actions in order to create that. So what are we going to do? We're going to ask ourselves and our team, what are you committing to finishing by the end of this year? And then congratulate them for continuing to go on this journey, continuing to go towards this goal for the rest of the year. And then what version of you needs to show up to make this happen? Guys, we know that in order to get to where we want to be, there's a different version of us that needs to show up. Maybe a version that you didn't like showed up for the first half of the year. That doesn't mean they have to continue on that journey with you for the rest of the year. You could bring a completely new version of you to the rest of the year. So my challenge to you today is write out your top 3 goals for the next 90 days. And now you have somebody that you've shared goals with, your accountability partner. Make sure that you text those goals to them tonight so that they can help keep you accountable for the remainder of the year. So remember, we are at the midpoint. We are adjusting. We're going to reset, refocus, and recommit to the remainder of this year. What are those things that you're going to reflect on and say, I did a great job on this, or I fell short on this? And then the things that you are going to be doing, make sure you are reconnecting to it with energy, with burn, with drive, so that you're ready to get up and go. Understand that you may have to pivot again in this next 90 days, next 6 months, in order to achieve what you want by the end of the year. And remember, quarterly sprints with 3 priorities to keep you focused for the remainder of the year. Guys, I hope this information helps. Make sure that you're sharing this with your team so that you're all in alignment going in the same direction. Guys, go out and make it an amazing day. And I hope your week is as awesome as you are.